Hi everyone. Today I'm going to share about the some C# .NET related question and who is looking for the preparation in the C# .NET and preparing for the interview. So these are the question which is commonly asked in every tech company, and if you are preparing on that, so this question is useful I think. And this is the lots of question I can say what I already faced in my previous uh, interview time. So I already collected some chunks and some question and going to share to you all. And I think this will be very useful to all. So I think I should start. And if you like, please like this video, share and comment. And if you need more any query or anything, any question related on that, please comment it down. I will be happy to share the answer over there. And if you need this PDF also, I will share on that also. So first question, what I can say, many of the interviewer asking, if you are looking for the, if you are appearing for the .NET interview, and the question is like, what is the difference between the .NET and C Sharp? So sometimes the candidate giving like .NET and C Sharp both are the same, but it is a not same. It's look like you can give the same type of combination, like it is a entity on that, but it's different, and we have to bifurcate and give the relevant answer on that. I can say .NET is a framework and C Sharp is a programming language. So that's why the interviewer want to hear. And .NET framework has collection of read-made library. So for example, you want list dictionary, it has a system collection.dll. You want to make HTTP calls, then it has a system.net.http.dll and so on. So while C Sharp is a programming language, it has a syntax, grammar, it has those for loops, if condition, and so on. So C Sharp language invoke the orchestrate and .NET framework library to create an application. So both have the difference and give the answer according that. Then after that, the next question I can say we have difference between the .NET Core, .NET 5.0. Right now, like latest one 6.0, 7.0 is coming, and like already here. And I'm working on the .NET 5.0 and .NET 6.0. But normally, what the interview asking like a more stable version, and like difference between the .NET framework, .NET Core versus .NET 5.0. So I already created the table on that. So .NET framework is like 4.x and .NET Core 3.x and .NET 5.0. You can see there is a platform difference. So cross-platform and .NET Framework 4.0 is only for the Windows. Coming to the cross .NET Core, it is work across the platform. I can say cross-platform like Mac, Windows, Unix, Linux, and .NET 5.0 is also a unified platform which unify all the .NET runtime like .NET Framework, .NET Core, Mono, and so on. So developer no longer need to choose between the .NET Core and .NET Framework and Mono based on which platform they are developing their application. So this provides a common experience to developer irrespective of the framework wise, and this provides like common experience to developers irrespective on which .NET version they are working. So that's why .NET 5.0 like more popularly, like right now every developer is reference to choosing on that. And apart from that, then there's a multiple component or factor like performance, and who is a fast, like .NET framework 4.0 is like slow comparison to .NET Core 3.x. And similarly for the application supported, I can say, so old like traditional was supporting the ASP.NET, ASP.NET MVC waveform, and .NET Core support the MVC Core 3.x. Similarly for the WCF, WPF, WWF, it is a in the .NET framework, but right now in the .NET Core that is not. And old traditional .NET framework having a like desktop based WPF WinForm, and .NET Core nothing have anything like WPF or WinForm. It is like waveform. Only waveform I can say. Packaging coming under that, I can say it is a one big framework in the .NET framework 4.0, but in the .NET Core delivering via morally using the NuGet package manager. Coming to the microservices support, .NET Framework 4.x traditional one not supported, but yeah, .NET Core 3.0 supported. Coming to the CLI tools, more ID based I can say. .NET from Framework 4.x traditional one, but not. .NET Core 3.x is like fully CLI command supported. You if you are using the entity framework, so all the things you can achieve with the help of your command tool. Coming to the mobile compatibility, um, no support directly in the traditional one, but in the .NET Core it's supportable and compatible with the Xamarin. Coming to the cloud, so works but only for the Windows system, the traditional .NET Framework 4.x, but .NET Core 3.x is supported all I can say cloud. So these are the differentiate between the traditional one with the .NET Core and .NET 5.0, 6.0 or 7.0 long-term support. Coming to the next question I have, like what is an IL code? So IL code is like partially compiled code, I can say intermediate language. And why IL code is not fully compiled? The reason behind that, like in it depends on the what kind of environment .NET code will run. So we do not know like what be the end operating system. So CPU configuration, machine configuration, security configuration, etc. So the IL code is a half compiled, and so runtime this code is compiled to machine specific using the environment property like CPU, OS, machine configuration, etc. So that's why it is a like known as a half compiled, I can say, not fully compiled. Coming to the like next question, who compiled the IL code and how does it work? So IL code is compiled by the JIT. JIT nothing but I can say just in time compiler. And how this JIT compilation work? It it works like before the execution, your code just before execution, and it saves this translation into the memory. And just before the execution, the JIT can compile per file and per function or a code fragment. So according that this JIT compilation work. Then after compilation, we have to know like what is the different types of JIT, and there is three types of JIT I can say: normal JIT, eco-normal JIT, and pre-JIT. So it is like going one step by step. If first one is like normal one, and it is the same method I can say the completed code from catch and use for the execution. And echo JIT is like only those methods that are called at a runtime. However, like this compiled method are not stored in the cache or so that memory can be utilized in optimal manner. And pre-JIT, as you know, like it is a complete source code into native code in a single compilation cycle. So this is the done at time of deployment of the application. So we can implement pre-JIT by using the engine.txt. So normal JIT is the default implementation. It produces the optimized code. So Econo JIT just replaces higher instruction and with the native counterpart, and it does not do any kind of optimization. So Econo JIT does not store the compiled code into the cache, so that is require a rest memory. And if you heard about the NGN XE, and if you not, then I can say like NGN is a like store full compiled .NET native code into the cache, and in the simple word I can say it dynamic compiling the code on runtime, a full image of native compiled code and store in the cache while installing the application. So this led to like better performance of the assembly load and execute the faster. And you can install with the help of like ngn.exe install this assembly name you can give there. So like I'm giving a syntax for this one. And so like after this, then I have a question like it does mean like it give the performance improvement, and what is the like advantage of using the ngn.exe? So I can say performance wise no, but it is not always necessary that the ngn.exe produces the optimized code, because it uses the current environment parameter which can change over a period of time. So for instance, a code compiled in Windows XP environment, it will not be optimized code to run under the Windows 2008 server. So we need to once test with ngn and without ngn to conclude if really the performance increases over there. And after that, like next question comes like is it possible to view the IL code like intermediate code, intermediate language I can say? Yeah, we can say yes by using the ILDSM simple tool. We can use the IL code and of the DLA or EXE. In order to view this IL code using the IDLSM, go to the Visual Studio command prompt and run this exe idlsm.exe. And once you are enter this command, this IDLSM is running and you can view the IL code. Just you can try once, you can see. The next question we know like what is a CLR, and CLR we know like common language runtime and is the heart of the .NET framework, and it does the four primary important things. First, like garbage collection, second cache, code access security, then CV code verification, then IL to native translation. I can say intermediate language to native translation. Then after that, we have a question like, what is the difference between the managed and unmanaged code? You heard about this question many times, like difference between the managed and unmanaged code. So the code executed under the CLR execution environment is called as a managed code. Like C Sharp comes under that environment, so it is, we can say it is a managed code. C++, I can say it is unmanaged code because it does not comes under the execution environment. So that's why C++, VB6, VC plus etc are the unmanaged code. Then this is the next question we have, like what is a garbage collector? It is a most important question, I can say. You are creating a instance, you are creating the class, and sometimes you are creating the variable also, and from the long terms you are not using, and that variable a parameter is already occupy some spaces. Because of that, sometime I can say performance wise it will be going slow. So that's why it is very useful to clear out the memory, I can say. So garbage collector is, I can say, is a feature of CLR which clean unused managed code. Here it is only dedicated for the managed code. Like if I'm working in the C sharp language, so it will be only working for that C sharp, not for the C++. Is like background thread which run continuously check if there are any unused object whose memory can be claimed, I can say. And every time you have to like keep in mind it is not applicable for the unmanaged code. It is only applicable for the managed code. And there is a like generation in the garbage collector, generation 0, 1 and 2. And generation 0, like which application create a fresh object, they are marked as a gen 0. And gen 1 is like when GC is not able to clear the object from gen 0 in first round, it will move into the gen 1 bucket. And again gen 2, when GC visit gen 1 object and he is not able to clear them, he move them in the gen 2. So generation are created to improve the GC performance, and garbage collector will spend more time on Gen Z zero object rather than a Gen 1 and Gen 2, thus improving the performance. So most time I can say Gen 0 is like base, and 99% I can say it is trying to clear out there. But yeah, if there is a 1 and 2, it will going to improve the performance over there if anything is remaining over there. Next question we have, like garbage collector clean the managed code. Then how do we clean the unmanaged code? So for the unmanaged code, I can say garbage collector only clean the managed code memory, but for the unmanaged code, you need to like put cleanup in your destructor or finalize method. Using that, you can clean your unmanaged code. And then after that, like we have a question: if you are using the destructor or finalize method, then it cause the like performance fall down. Yes, I can say. When we define a destructor or garbage collector, it does not collect these objects in the first round. So it move them to Gen 1, then reclaim this object in the next cycle. So as more objects are created in the Gen 1, the performance of the application fall down there because more memory is consumed. Next question we have, like how we can clean the unmanaged object and also maintain the performance. Both thing we have to look into that. So we have some below steps, I can say. First we can do like implement the idisposable interface and implement the dispose function. And in dispose function, call the like gc.suppress finalize method. And at the client side, ensure that the dispose function is called when object is no more required. We have to finalize like this variable or this parameter will be not using from its finally, then we can call this in the dispose function. So I can say here I have a one sample example. This is a class and the class name like class my class. Then we are using I disposable interface and created the destructor for this one. And you can see we have a like one dispose method over there, and we are just checking the condition to clear the free the manage object. If that is not, then we can go in the else part and freeze on manage code. This gc.suppress finalize method you can see here we are calling the dispose method. Next question I can say we have like can we force garbage collector to run forcefully? And I can say system.gc.collect method is a force garbage collector to run. So we do not need or recommended I can say to particularly force to run this method. It can be used in situation arises. So that's depend on that. Next question is like what is the difference between the finalize and dispose method? Finalize is a destructor and dispose is a function. So which is the implemented via iDisposable interface. So finalize is a non-deterministic since it is a call by the garbage collector. Dispose is a function and need to be called via the client for a cleanup. So in other words, I can say finalize is a automatically called by the GC garbage collector, and while dispose need to be called forcefully. For the cleaning, I can say manage and unmanaged code. Automatically GC will become and on that finalize will be executed. But for this forcefully cleaning the unmanaged code or long-term memory which is holding the variable, we can use the iDisposable interface and call the dispose method. Then I have a next question. What is a CTS? CTS in the .NET, I can say like C Sharp, VB.NET, VF.NET EC, and you can see it's a common type system. And there came a situation when we want to code in one language to be called in another language. So in order to ensure that smooth communication between this language, the most important thing that they should have a common type system and ensure that in the data type defined to different language get compiled to a common data type. So this is the reason we are using the CTS. So integer data type I can see in the VB6 and in data type in C++ will be converted to system.in32 which is data type of CTS. So I can say CTS comes under this one, converting both language, both parameter I can say into common one. Then next question we have like what is CLS? CLS is like common language specification and it is a like subset of CTS. And CLS is a specification or set of rules or guideline. When any programming language adhere to this set of rules, it can be consumed by any .NET language. So, for instance, one of the rule which make your application CLS non-compliant and when you declare your method member with the same name and with only case difference in C sharp. So you can try this, create a simple classes in C sharp with the same name and only case differences try to consume in the VB.NET same. So it will not work. So that's why this CLS comes under this scenario. Then when we are running the programming, executing everything function. So all these I can say comes under the assembly I can say. So assembly is a unit of deployment like exe or DLL. And there is a different types of assembly. Yeah, we have a two types of assembly, private and public assembly. Private assemblies are normally used by the single application and stored in the application directory or a subdirectory beneath. And share assembly is stored in the global assembly cache, which is shared in our application and which is repository of assembly maintained by the .NET runtime. So share assembly are needed when we want the same assembly to be shared by the various application in the same computer. After the assembly, we when we are creating the class or any application, we having in the C sharp like namespace. So what is the namespace? And namespace, I can say it has a two functionality. First one, like it logically group the classes. For instance, I can say system.web.ui. Namespace logically group the UI related feature like text box, list, control, etc. And in object oriented world, it many times it is possible that programmer will use the same class name qualifying the namespace with the class name and avoid this collision. So for this reason, we are using the namespace. By default, it is coming in our like project or in our application when we are creating a new application. The functionality of this namespace, both of this I can say. And next question we have like difference between the namespace and assembly. And namespace and assembly, I can say assembly is a physical grouping of logical unit. Namespace is a logical group classes. And namespace like can span multiple assembly while assembly is a physical unit like exe or dll or etc. So these are the main difference in both of them. And next question we have like what is ILDSM? ILDSM is a simple tool which help you to view the IL code of DLL or EXE. I just previously in the question I mentioned if you want to view just you can type this ILDSM.exe and you can view your IL code. So that is here also we can say the function of the benefit of using that one we can view the IL code. Next question we have like what is a manifest? Manifest is like assembly metadata stored in the manifest. I can say manifest contain the metadata which describe the following things. I can say version of assembly, security identity, scope of the assembly, resolve reference to resource and classes. So this assembly manifest is stored in the DLL itself. Till now we have this question, and I think if you like this video, please like, share, and comment. And next part I will share in my upcoming videos. Thank you. Meet you in the next video.